What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today at the request of Dialogue Kayaker. And I would have actually talked about this regardless of anybody requesting it, because I got some explaining to do, man. I definitely thought that we were going to top off in the 61869 area right here. And we didn't. We actually went higher. And before that, previous to this, I thought that was the high. And we broke out of that. And on this day, I was like, okay, we probably move up to this area. And we did. And already we're higher than that right now. Yes, we're only up less than 2% today. But, I mean, for Bitcoin, that's still pretty significant, right? Relatively speaking, at least. I mean, really 2% isn't much for Bitcoin. But just relatively speaking, we haven't seen really big moves. This is the biggest move we saw, and that wasn't even a 10% day, right? Man, something's wrong with my voice. What I want to go over, guys, is we are in the pre-halving times right now. We're right before the halving. It's February 9th, right? Hold on. February 9th, right now. Had to clear my throat. And a lot of people, I've seen a few YouTube accounts talking about how we're having a pre-halving pump. This happens every cycle, and that this is the pre-halving pump we're looking for. And I want to go over the farce behind that. One cycle, we had a pre-halving pump. Most cycles, actually I say most, the other two cycles we had pre-halving dumps. And I want to go over where the price was around the halving in relativity to its like all-time highs. So let's go back all the way to 2012. I don't know what just happened there. That was weird. 2012 November, the very end of November, it was November 28th was the first halving. So that would have been this week here, okay? Prior to this halving, if we go back a couple months, in August actually, that's more than a couple months, August, September, October, November, 3 months, okay? From top to bottom, we dropped 50%, okay? In October, we dropped here 26%, you know. We did pump going into the halving, technically, but not really, right? We were more or less range bound. We didn't really pump, right, until after the halving. It was after the halving that we pumped. We pumped before the halving, sure, here, but really as we got closer to the halving, we kind of were stagnant. We moved sideways. We had significant drops, right? 25%, 50%, those are some pretty significant drops. Yeah, okay. Going to 2016, the next halving, in July, I think it was July 9th, 2016. Let's see. This one here. We did have a pre-halving pump. This was the one time that we did have a pre-halving pump, right? June, this was the month before the halving. 1 month before the halving, we did pump. But going into the halving, we dumped 40%. This was post-halving. This was the halving here, it actually happened this week right here. So about a month before the halving, I don't know what just happened there, about a month before the halving to where we bottomed out, we dropped 40%. And yes, we did pump, but right after the halving, essentially like not even a month after the halving, we gave all of that pump back. We went back to like the top area. We checked this back, very bullish move, finding support on a previous area of resistance, but we gave it all back, okay? And we didn't pump. We didn't really pump until after the halving, right? This was like a little like quick move up, but then we moved down basically just as fast, and then we didn't really have a sustained growth until after the halving. The next halving was May 11th, 2020. I forget. I know it was in May, but I forget the exact. I think it was May 11th. I think this was the halving. Here in February, March, April, May, it's like 3 months before, we saw a 63% drop. And, you know, maybe you want to say that's the COVID drop. That doesn't count. Okay, I'll level with you. Fine, let's take a monthly close. That's fair, right? 38.9%, essentially a 39% drop before the halving happened. And even actually the next month we dropped a little lower, so maybe 41.5% of a drop. You know, no matter how you want to cut it, 40%, 41%, 25%, 50% drop, however you want to look at it. The minimum has been 25% drop. And we got pretty close to that. We did get pretty close to that, I'm not going to lie. Right here, top to bottom, 21%. But this would be the smallest pullback that we've seen in Bitcoin's history as far as like pre-halving goes. And there's one more metric that I want to go over before I finish this up. And that's where the price is by the halving. And again, that one time that we saw 25%, prior to that we did see a 50% correction. We haven't seen any kind of significant correction since back here, and these weren't that significant in that in of themselves. Let's see, from high to low, 21% again. You know, and that's a pretty solid move up without a sizable correction. Let's see, just real quick. I mean, yeah, you didn't even hit your 382, right? And that's to be expected to at least hit your 382. If not, the 618, 69, the 0.5. Bitcoin this whole time moving up since its low, the cycle lows, it's been finding support on its 0.5. It's been finding resistance on its 0.5 even at certain times. But I want to go, hold on. I want to go back and measure one thing real quick. Sorry, I had to clear my throat out again. Right, let's do the monthly. We can do the monthly. So from the all-time high to where we were the month of the halving, where that month closed, that was a 60% difference, right? The halving happened on November 28th, 2012. From the previous all-time high to there, that was a 60% difference, okay? The next halving was in 2016, July, this month here, to the monthly close from the all-time high, that was a 50% difference. Is that right? 49.7, about a 50% difference. And then the last halving that we had was in May of 2020 on a monthly closing basis, 52%. So 60%, 50%, 52%. If we were breaking out right now, if we were to move higher, already as of right now, we're at 32, 33% essentially away from the previous all-time high. We would essentially have the what's the word I'm looking for? The closest distance, the smallest distance from the all-time high to the halving, and we're not at the halving. We still have 2 months left, of course. But if we were to kind of get an idea of like where to be at a minimum, we'd see like something like this. That'd be down at about $34,900, which is an area that I've been calling for about a month now, or maybe a little bit less than a month now. You know, that would make sense. Could we go lower than that? Absolutely we could. Could we not go as low? Absolutely we could. But 32%, that to me it just feels like a stretch, man. Or if we're breaking out right now, likely we would be even closer to our all-time high, right? If this is the real deal, we're getting ready to take out this high. Where are we going to go? We're probably going to go all the way up to 50K, right? And then what are we going to do after that? Going into March, going into April, like, are we going to be higher? Are we going to be past the all-time high? That'd be a first. There's a first time for everything, but all this just leading up to the idea that I don't really believe that we're going to break this high right now. I do think that it's going to happen, but it's going to happen after the halving. And that's kind of my logic behind it. You know, volume has been dying off. Even with this move, that's not the first day that we had above average volume was on this day here, right? On a 4-hour basis, volume is dying off consistently as we're moving up. That's not a good look. On a 1-hour look, we have bearish divergence building up and volumes dying off. You can see from here to here to here, it's just dying off as you're moving up, which also is not a good look. I feel like this move, like a bright star, is, you know, short-lived. It's going to be very short-lived. What would change my mind on this, besides all the talking that I've done, right? What would change my mind on this would be if we can close today above here. We're already above it right now. If we can close today above here, I would start to change my mind. I would start to be a little bit more concerned. I'm not saying I'm not concerned. I'm a little bit more emotional today than I've probably been this whole time, right? I very much did not expect to see prices above 46K, and here we are at 46,300 right now as I'm talking. We could go higher even, but we still have 16 hours, 54 minutes left in the day. Let's see where we are by the end of the day. When I say closing above this line, I would like to see us close basically like here or higher, not like $1 or $2 above this line, right? If we close right at it, I'm not convinced either way. I'd like to see some kind of sizable, and this isn't really even that sizable, but something a little bit more like this, like a noticeable difference, right? Not just like pennies to the dollar or dollars to the $10,000 of a difference. I said it back here. I'm saying it here. If we close above there, I will change my narrative. I will start to change my narrative. I'll admit defeat. I will think that we're going higher, and then as soon as I do that, we will dump. So that's what will happen. But no, I'm a bit. I would say I'm a bit nervous, a bit emotional here, right? But I am checking myself. I am staying level-headed, trying to at least, and expecting that this is going to be what it always has been. An incomplete move to the downside. We have more to go based off of what we've seen from previous cycles. We have more to go to the downside, and that's kind of my logic, my theory behind it. But I don't know, man. I can be wrong. I've been wrong before. Bitcoin can do whatever it wants. I know that going over what it's done historically in its previous halvings is true. It's all true. And I think it's fair and factual to bring up, but at the same time, this cycle could do different things. It doesn't have to abide by those rules, even though that's the expectation. We only have 3 cycles, right? That's not a whole lot of iterations to base outcomes off of. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys. I hope I didn't ramble on too much, but I tried to do it my best. I kept clearing my throat, so I got a little bit distracted, but. All that to say, I do expect the price will still go down. I am convinced that we will see $34,900 before we see anything above $50,000. But that could change. That could change today if we close here or a little bit higher, something like that. I would close any and all of my put positions that I have on crypto miners. I don't know if I'd look to buy here, but I definitely would move my buy orders up higher. I'd probably wait for some kind of a pullback before buying, but I haven't sold any of my crypto, so that's the beauty of it, man. If you're in it for the long haul, you can afford to be wrong because you're still going to make money even if you're wrong. If it goes up, if you're projecting it to go down and it goes up and you're wrong, well, you're going to make money. So it's really not a bad thing to do, and that's what I keep trying to tell people. Especially the hyenas that come on here and they try to give me crap whenever I'm wrong, but they never acknowledge whenever I'm right. It's not about being right or wrong, man. It really isn't. And that's why I try not to brag about it whenever I'm right. And I do admit it whenever I'm wrong, but I don't really dog on myself for it. It happens. It's just a part of it. You're going to be right. You're going to be wrong. It's not about that. It's about risk management, right? It's about you think it's going to go down, but you're in it for the long haul. You have long haul bags. Okay, you have bags that you trade with too. Okay, that's okay. You can gamble with that if you want. Trade with it. Try to make the moves. Try to be smart. Manage your risk there as well. But if you've got the long term holds, which should be most of your capital, even if you think the price is going down, but you're in a bull run, which we're absolutely in a bull run right now, you don't sell. And I do think the price is absolutely going to go down from here. I very much do believe we're going to see prices below $35,000, over the next month and a half. But even with that, I'm not selling here. I wouldn't sell here because you never know when Bitcoin could do something different that it's never done in a previous cycle before. And that's my main theory as to why it won't go up. It's never done that before. But again, we only have 3 cycles to base it off of. It's not a whole lot of iterations of information to base statistics off of. So it could be invalidated. This could be a one-off this time. Maybe the ETF approvals were more bullish than I think, but man, it's just not. It's not at all, in my opinion, what I would expect with the ETFs getting approved. Anytime ETFs have gotten approved in America for any major commodity, we have seen multiple months, like 9 months at a minimum, where these things went down and were stagnant. Bitcoin only went down for 3 weeks. I'm not sold, man. I'm a little bit emotional here. Sure, I didn't expect it, but I'm not swayed yet. I'm not convinced. Convince me. Close here or close higher. Close above this daily low close. I'd be very convinced if we closed above this daily high close. There'd be even $1 above it. There'd be no argument there in my opinion, but closing where you are here, I might still be stubborn and be like, that's not enough. It's pretty damn close, but I'd like to see it at 46,400 really for it to convince me, but I don't know. We'll see, man. I'm just blabbering on at this point. I do expect the price to go lower. I'm not swayed just yet. You are overbought. You do have a higher high in your RSI than this high, but it's a lower high that is hidden bearish divergence. But we are in an uptrend, so that doesn't necessarily have to happen. Hidden bearish divergence performs better in a downtrend. It performs worse in an uptrend. And to be fair, you zoom out, we are in an uptrend. We're absolutely in an uptrend. We do not have a lower low. We do not have lower highs. This could be a relatively lower high, but all in all, we are in an uptrend. So yes, we have hidden bearish divergence, but it doesn't have to play out. And what I was trying to say is we still have a lot of work to do. We still have a lot of work to do. Before I end this video, what I was trying to say is we still have a lot of work to do before the prices that I'm looking for come to fruition. We got to close below this daily high close. We got to close below this daily low close. And until then, the possibility that we could go higher is there. We turn around from here, I'm not going to be celebrating. I'll be able to catch my breath a little bit, but I'm not going to be celebrating because we could do this. We could find support on a previous area of resistance and continue to build. We pulled back down to here, and we find support down there. Same thing. We find support on a previous zone of support here, previous area of support right here, 786, 886 on your fib retracements. Like, I'm not going to be ecstatic, right? Until we break that level, that's when I'll be like, whew, I can breathe a little bit, But until then, I'm holding my breath, I guess. And just because we bounce off this level doesn't mean that I'm going to be worried either. As long as we're maintaining lower highs, I'll be okay. But if we do turn around from here, then I go from looking at this day, this area as significance to wherever we close today, or wherever we close whenever we find our high. Unless none of that happens, we continue to move up. But monitor it, man, monitoring it. That's all I'm really doing right now, right? We're just going to wait, be patient, not be too irrational. The price has moved up with very insignificant volume, right? There doesn't seem to be anything really driving the price right now other than FOMO and probably some shorts getting squeezed. So I'm running on and talking, man, and that's all I got to say. So if you guys like the video, hit that like button, subscribe to see more. We'll see where it goes. Maybe in a day or two or a week or two, I will look very silly. Maybe in a week or two or a month or two, I'll be vindicated. But I'm not going to make any irrational moves now. That's not how I operate. I'm very much like okay with being wrong, because if I am wrong, I'm still making money. So like, that's okay. If I'm right, cool. I'll throw some more money in it as it goes lower. That's cool. But we're not really in a place to be spinning victory laps or I told you so's on either end yet. I definitely, absolutely, I will end the video with this. I absolutely did not expect this, but has me a little bit shook. I wasn't shook yesterday. I'm a little bit shook today, but even then, try to be level. Try to be cool and let it play out. Let it do its thing. Wait for the day to close. Wait for the week to close. Let's see what it does. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys. If you liked the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you all for coming, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.